Although farmers usually know their land better than anyone, there is a lot more that goes on behind their thinking minds. Bizarre discoveries, incredible sightings, and findings that you can never fathom or believe. Prepare to be amazed by this incredible display of things farmers found in their fields. Python swallowed whole goat. Look at this huge reptile struggling with a bloated belly. Well, this is a perfect example of how stretchable these pythons could be. Posted a few years back, this video shows a massive python with an extremely large body. This was captured in India when a farmer, while searching for his goat, stumbled upon a 15-foot-long python. Unclear at first, but then this enlarged reptile turned out to be the sinner of that guy looking out for his missing cattle. After devouring a whole goat, the slithering sneaker was trying to escape silently. However, before it could break free, it was captured and handed over to the forest officials. Rescue attempt fails terribly. Sometimes it's not just the obstacles of nature that animals need rescuing from, but rather rescuers itself. A group of hikers were hiking on top of a high mountain somewhere in the North Island of New Zealand when they randomly found this sheep that had its head stuck in the fence that they decided to help free. The footage from January 2013 shows the moment where, after the sheep's head was removed from the fence, but since the hiker didn't properly take the steep hill into consideration, the sheep paid the price by tumbling down the mountain. Strange fetus. I know you can't figure out what you are looking at now. This is a deformed baby goat that was born without a head. It was spotted in Nigeria by some villagers. The mother goat had given birth to 2 babies, out of which one was perfectly healthy. But this poor baby could not survive and lost its life right after being born. It had a proper body with no hair and shocked everyone looking at it. Giant croc. Now, look at this terrified crowd gathered around to witness a massive wingless dragon. Wait, did I just say dragon? Well, yes, because of the sheer size of this leviathan reptile, whose long, spiny tail could be seen touching the ground. Even the creature was lying on the huge truck, carefully tied with ropes, but still trying to break free. This might be the largest croc you would have ever seen in your life. This giant crocodile was estimated to be 17 feet long and was found stuck in a canal in Sri Lanka. Fortunately, before any unhappy incident, an excavator was used to haul it back to the river, where this prehistoric monster was given another chance to celebrate one more century. Anaconda ate another anaconda. This farmer was exploring the land near his field when he found an extremely large anaconda lying on the ground, with its body ballooning out. This anaconda was assumed to have been resting after devouring a huge animal. But things took a scary turn after he decided to open its belly to reveal its last eaten meal. A cow or a huge goat? None of these, as this time another anaconda was retrieved from the body of this largest snake. It might seem strange, but larger-sized females have been reported to eat smaller males, especially during mating season. And here, this male, in an effort to impress the lady, ended up inside its belly. Spider with human face. Either this spider being pranked on by its fellows, or just that it's a scar or a natural mark. A resident from Assam's Nayagan district noticed and recorded this unusual-looking spider that had a human-like facial on its back. The video of the creature was recorded and shared on the internet in hopes to identify where some commented it to be a rare species of spider, while others believed that the facial expressions were actually imprinted. Cockroach Farm. If you also get the creeps just by looking at cockroaches, you are about to get the shock of your life. These creepy crawlies are feared by many, but in China they are served as delicious dishes, and growing them is a proper business. The farmers actually have proper farms, where they breed them and have up to 10 million cockroaches. Labinxa is also one of them and has no fear or loathing about cockroaches. He even believes that they are good for health and treat different ailments. Would you try a cockroach dish? Komodo dines on minor. While most meat lovers prefer to take their steak rare, medium, or well done, the Komodos prefer it to be screaming. This hungry Komodo dragon was spotted tracking down minors from a pig and a wild goat family before mercilessly eating them. Most animals tend to take the life of their prey, but the Komodos don't bother taking that trouble when they can easily swallow the prey without any remorse. Oftentimes, the targeted prey tend to escape from the clutches of their jaw, but the dose of venom that the Komodos inject thins out the blood, making the injured escapee completely bleed out. Fixing critical birthing. Fixing things aren't just limited to everyday use gadgets, but with adequate knowledge, you could also fix a biological defect. A young poultry farmer found this bougie parrot that was suffering from an egg binding issue that was leaving the bird immobile and vulnerable. The egg binding disorder is when a bird takes much longer than usual to lay eggs, as they are unable to expel the egg. Having prior experience with the issue, the farmer helped the parrot in distress by using oil to withdraw its eggs and relieve her from the agonizing pain. Faith in humanity was restored with this act of kindness. Goats with multiple horns. Although this may seem like another case of deformity, it's actually far more complicated. In May 2014, Romanian farmers of Defsua found this unique goat that seemed to have 3 horns, which at first was taken to be some genetic disorder, until this very goat gave birth to calves that also had multiple horns. These goats could surely be far more valuable if they do not have any serious genetic defects, aside from the extra horns. Snake attacked a goat. Wild goats are among the most adorable animals. For snakes, this cattle form is the easiest target. Filmed a few months back, this clip shows a huge snake trying to cram down the little goat, although the goat could be heard yelling for help. There is no such word as kindness in the dictionary for these slithering creatures. It kept on coiling and constricting to seize the animal right in front of its terrified fellow. Standing up while sitting other times, the goat kept on struggling for life until the duo was spotted by some village boys who immediately rescued the boat, providing it another chance to live. Snake den surprise. It's not just the ancient treasures that you might find underground, but sometimes it might just be a pit full of snakes. A Texas farmer in Gorman made a shocking discovery of over a dozen venomous snakes. They were hidden under an old cabin. The farmer, along with his friend, were attempting to take down a windmill when one of them noticed a handful of snakes slithering under the cabin. Fortunately, they were able to avoid what would have been a huge disaster in the making. Venomous babies. Is this snake vomiting out other small snakes? Yeah, the same question triggered my mind right after watching this video. But the truth behind this specific clip is far more impressive. This female puff adder was filmed giving birth to babies. It might seem strange, but this species of snake, unlike others, do not lay eggs. They give live birth, and the venomous newborns don't need any egging. Instead, they unfurl themselves and slowly slither right after being born. And here you can see how this mama snake is giving birth to an impressive litter of 57 babies, which after popping out are getting ready to share their venom. Kangaroo calf. This unique kangaroo-like calf was spotted in Kakamega by a farmer, and he just could not believe his eyes. It was born with 3 other normal calves, but its deformity made it gain a lot of attention. The cow is owned by a farmer named Javan Shisha. Many people would visit his house to see the kangaroo cow. Unfortunately, it had some trouble standing up, but its mother was there to support the calf. Shisha and his family also love the incredible kangaroo calf. Goat with rare deformity. At another place, a goat was born with a unique deformity. It had no legs at all. This one was spotted by a villager who had goats as pets. Miraculously, this one managed to survive and live on. It has some issues with moving from one place to another, but the people around it love it enough to support a sustainable life. They even feed it on their own. Battle for survival. With both of them the same size, the battle of who becomes the predator and feeds on the other was a steep challenge, especially for the python. A guy shared this footage in his backyard, showing the moment where a python that was caught in the crocodile's jaws was attempting to slither around the croc to squeeze onto it tightly. It would not just save itself, but also make a meal out of the crocodile. Seeing the vigilance of the croc, who keeps foiling every attempt that the python makes, it sure paints a picture of an eventual victor. Naked rooster. If you have ever heard of literary folktale, The Emperor's New Clothes, this rooster is like a real-life example. In July 2018, an Indonesia farmer, Fauzan, shared a video of his featherless cock, who, unlike its peers, often catches cold. At the time, the rooster, nicknamed as Buell, was 6 months old, who soon gained fame on the internet, but relies on the affectionate farmer to take care of him, and loves to communicate with its chirping sounds. With no feathers around, the volume of fats of Buell could certainly be monitored. Cow-eating snake. Cows generally are known to be herbivores, but this one decided to bring a change in diet.
What are you doing? Ew.
A Queensland farmer was left stunned upon seeing one of his ginger dairy cows was found chewing and munching on a small snake at his farm in March 2018. The farmer, in fear of the snake biting the cow, came closer to remove it, only to discover that the snake was already deceased. Shockingly, the cow seemed to be enjoying munching on the scaly snack, as if it were a string of noodles. According to the farmer, eating the snake did not cause it any harm. Farmer rescues his cow. First a bear and now a lioness. Seems like these predators are rather considering an easier catch. In July 2023, a farmer in Tamil Nadu, India, found one of his cows attacked by a relentless big cat on a desolate road. Having no tools or weapons, the farmer stepped in to save his cattle by just walking over to them, resulting in the lioness getting scared away and abandoning the effort. With lionesses being one of the most powerful apex predators that hunt in packs, this cow didn't stand a chance of surviving much longer. Lion takes rooftop. Seeing a random cat on the rooftop may seem normal, but definitely not a lion. An Indian farmer was surprised to discover this adult Asiatic lion that was resting on top of his cabin on the outskirts of Gujarat state of India. With a lion on top of his roof, there wasn't much that he could do without risking his life, except to wait it out, which he did. After over an hour later, as the sun started to set, the lion got off the roof, and as its path crossed, the farmer, who was joined by his dog, managed to repel the lion and send it running. Snake taste electric shock. Now that was shocking, where after getting stung for the first time, you might think to not make the same mistake, but this snake was persistent enough to keep trying. A snake of an unknown was attempting to climb a fence that was protected by a live electrical wire, which upon coming in contact, gave it a jolt of shock. Interestingly, the curious snakes kept touching the wire, almost as if it was stubborn to get answers, or maybe was just expecting a different outcome. On the bright side, it's definitely not a quitter. Lion guard. Having a lion instead of a guard dog would definitely catch any intruder with malicious intent by surprise. In June 2017, a South African farmer, Toby Bird, opened up to a tourist sharing that with attacks on farmers raising and that he resorted to unorthodox measures of setting a lion loose around his property to play the role of a guard dog. This lion, nicknamed Labonglia, is 3 years old and has been protecting his family for over a month. With a lion on the loose, anyone who even makes the mistake of trespassing would probably be very sorry. Stuck in solid tar. Careless disposal of waste no doubt affects nature, but this goat that had to pay for the consequences. This baby goat was found and rescued by a sheep shepherd in South Africa after it was found to be stuck in hardened tar and was still breathing. The shepherd was joined by good Samaritans who helped dig this poor goat out from the tar, but its hind legs were found to be stoned. With the help of a careful guide from a veterinarian, they broke apart the solid tar as much as possible before giving it several oil baths while it was rehydrated with water and milk for nutrition. After 3 days of oil baths, the tar started to come off, and days later, this baby goat was adopted by one of the rescuers and named Surrey. Warm blob. It is creatures such as these that make aliens look real. An unknown source shared footage in November 2018 showing a bizarre-looking worm blob that was discovered on the side of a broken road outside an apartment in Houston, Texas, that seemed only to get bigger and wider. Its mass was continuously squirming with parts around it that were writhing in every direction, almost as if it were a growing alien in one of those Hollywood movies. According to experts, this mass could be a colony of tubifex worms that surfaced inadvertently. Horse suffers seizure. What one might consider to be poor or lack of care, this rather was a long-term recurring condition for this mare. A new horse owner in England shared this clip in June 2021, showing a mare suffering from seizure. This horse is said to have been suffering seizures on and off, just as in the video, for 1.5 decades. Being 27 years old and an Irish thoroughbred, she has been misdiagnosed in the past, which worsened her condition due to the wrong treatment. While she has EPSM, and it seems to relate to muscle spasms, trapped nerve type of thing that after the right diagnosis, the new owner was finally able to keep stopping the seizures. Boar cornfield invasion. Had these boars stayed in there any longer, they'd most likely could have severely damaged the yield. During the corn harvest season in Nova Sveti, Czech Republic, farmers noticed the presence of a mysterious animal within the fields in midst of the harvest or reaping crop that they started recording this footage. Seconds later, dozens of wild boars appeared from within the unharvested cornfield. With much of the neighboring fields left to be harvested, one of the farmers started to follow the trail of boars using a drone, only to find them tearing down crops in another farm field. Annually, boars are known to cause several billions of dollars worth of damage to farmers around the world. Swarm of fish flies. With a swarm as huge as this, you might think that these insect species should have long gone extinct, but they keep returning annually. In July 2016, residents from Manitoba town were forced to clean up the mess created after millions of fish flies had taken all over the city before gradually dropping dead. From storefronts, road signs to streets and sidewalks, residents used shovels to clean up the mess, taking several days and manpower. If only they brought in an army of ducks or chickens who would have happily cleaned up all the mess. Head in barrel. To question how this happened is as asking if the chicken came first or its egg. Campers in Tennessee found this helpless cow that somehow found itself having stuck in a barrel, mostly while feeding. At first, the bystanders maintained distance, unsure if they must step up to help, thinking it to be a wild bull until the cow didn't show any aggressive behavior or attitude. At this point, they banded together and were able to get the barrel off with the cow left unharmed. Hyena rescued from well. Rescuing a street cat or dog is one thing, but rescuing a merciless scavenger demands measures for the safety of the rescuer. Villagers residing nearby Octo Forest Range, Maharashtra, spotted this striped hyena that was stuck into a 5-meter deep well after having survived a narrow brush with death. As soon as the Maharashtra Forest Department received the wildlife SOS from the village, they were able to make a timely intervention by using a trapdoor cage secured by ropes that were lowered. Initially, the hyena showed fear and resistance, but eventually entered into the cage and was pulled out. After a thorough medical examination, it was released into the wild. Decomposing bear. No matter how biggest or baddest one might be, everything has a breaking point, or you could say a downfall. A group of hikers in Kentucky discovered a huge black bear carcass that was rotting with bazillions of maggots all around it. The area where the bear carcass was discovered is believed to be the very same spot where numerous bear attacks were reported previously. Trapped anaconda released. This is exactly what happens when you swallow more than you could chew. While surveying a river 2 years back, a Brazilian cop was shocked to find a massive reptile trapped in the riverside branches. This was a huge anaconda, which, after swallowing a whole animal, might have thought to ingest it while resting it in the river for several other weeks. But the heavy dinner caused this anaconda to remain stuck there. However, after being spotted, the guy used a spade to prod and set the desperate animal free, giving it another chance to digest the heavy meal properly. Ants running spiral. Seeing something ants moving in a circle, you might have an impression of it being some weird initiation ritual of some kind. But this is actually a perfect mistake in the making. Ants communicate with each other by secreting trail pheromones that create a trail towards the food source. When these ants get separated from the main foraging party, they lose the scent of the trail and start to follow the ant in front of them, creating an endless loop of walking that only stops until the ants start to expire by hunger, thirst, or exhaustion. In some cases, the ants do get saved if the original source returns and the trail breaks from the loop. Cobra devouring python. You might have seen a python devouring other snakes or even large animals, but have you ever witnessed a python being eaten? In an incredibly rare sight, a 3-feet-long Burmese python was filmed being eaten by a large Indian cobra. According to onlookers, the python tried to retaliate, but expired quickly from the cobra's venom. After the fatal strike, the venomous dude opened up its large mouth to slurp its massive prey, just like a scaly sausage. Platypuses settling differences. Just when you'd think that platypuses would make use of the big mouth that they have, but resort to a fist fight in settling disputes, a farmer in Tasmania, Australia, caught 2 male platypuses on camera, whilst a brawl between them for territory by the riverbank. The body of platypus is designed to thrive in areas with presence of water to swim for prey and land to build burrows to live in. With a farm nearby, the increased source of sustenance invites females and males, creating more brawls, not just for territory, but also females. Octo goat. Not that this goat has anything to do with being hybrid, just that it is a very unusual case of deformity. A farmer in Croatia was stunned to discover that one of his newborn goats had 8 legs, which were also much longer than usual. From upper chest to the abdomen, the legs seemed to be popping out from everywhere, and the fact that this octo goat survived against all odds was enough to fascinate everyone. Extreme case of deformity. If it weren't for the parent that was around, this newborn donkey wouldn't have been so easily recognized. An unknown farmer shared this footage showing a baby donkey, which was believed to have been born recently, but with a face so deformed that it was facing quite a challenge to breathe. Despite practically not having a mouth and eyes that looked to be much functional, It still had a will to live as it struggled to get up. According to veterinarians, this newborn most likely may not live long enough, considering its physical condition. Inexperienced bear hunting. Had the cow had horns, this brawl would have been much more fair. A bystander shared this footage showing a moment of brief attempt that a wild bear was making so as to put down a cow as big as itself. Although the cow did a very good job in standing its ground without any tools to fight back and defend itself, it was fighting a losing fight, with the bear having advantage of huge, powerful claws, and not to mention its strong jaws and teeth. This shows that the bear had lack of hunting experience, otherwise it would have gone for the neck and choked the life out of the cow. Brahma chicken. If you have chickens and are not satisfied with their size, perhaps it's time that you swap them with the Brahma breed of chickens. Brahma breeds of chickens are a product of selective crossbreeding between Cockathanese breeds that are known for having excessive covering feathers and the very tall Malay. The result is that the new species of Brahma chicken stands around 30 inches tall, which is almost as large as the Jersey Giant. One can only imagine the damage a male rooster of this breed could incur to its enemies. Tangled rats. Are these rats enjoying some family time together? Turns out that is not the case. This group of rats was found by Johanna Poo when she went in the barn to feed the chickens in eastern Estonia's Polva County. She tried to get them out of the way, but the rats just didn't budge. They were all tied at the tails and could not move individually. Could they be performing some eerie ritual? Well, this phenomenon is called king rat, and there aren't any studies to prove why this happens. But I'm sure no one would want to witness such a case. It's time for today's open discussion. This picture and video was taken on November 6, 2017, by an unknown source, showing what looks to be one of the largest anaconda ever to be seen by farmers nearby the Amazon River forest. It looked big enough to swallow a dozen cows, which may have made it overconfident that it attempted to swallow a fully grown elephant, which far exceeded its physical capacity to digest. Since this incident troubled locals, as it could endanger their livestock, not much is known about this giant, sneaky, slithering reptile. But if you have any information to shed some light on this creature, do share it with us in the comments section. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again!